Let's begin. Today's September 22nd, 2024, and we're solving the Daily Turing Machine Puzzle. Today's puzzle uses the following 6 criteria cards. Criteria card 3, 9, 13, 16, 18, and 19. And the puzzle uses the orange verification cards. The code above is your way to get more information on today's puzzle by searching the code on turingmachine.info. Let's go solve. So in the grid above, we've got our 6 criteria cards. On the top row, we've got criteria card A, criteria card B, and criteria card C. On the bottom row, we've got criteria card D, criteria card E, and finally, criteria card F. Criteria card A looks at our middle digit, the square digit, and compares the value to the number 3. So should square be less than 3? Should it be equal to 3? Or should square be greater than 3? Criteria card B looks at the 3-digit solution and will let us know how many of those digits are 3. Are there no 3s? Is there a single 3? Perhaps 2, maybe even all 3 are 3. Criteria card C looks at our middle and last digits, square and circle, and compares them. So should the value of square be less than circle? Should they be equal, or should the value of square be greater than circle? Criteria card D again looks at our 3-digit solution, but this time will let us know a little bit about the ratio of even to odds. Are there more even than odds, or should there be less even than odds? Criteria card E will take a look at our 3 digits, triangle, square, and circle, add them together, and will let us know whether the sum total is an even quantity or an odd quantity. And finally, criteria card F looks at our first 2 digits, triangle and square, adds them up, and compares that sum to the number 6. So should the sum of the 2 digits be less than 6? Should it be equal to 6? Or should the sum be greater than 6? And remember, the objective of today's puzzle is to find that unique 3-digit code that abides by all the 6 criteria cards. And we're going to start off with an initial proposal of 314. So the first thing I want to test is criteria card D. I want to know a little bit about the ratio of even to odds. Okay, so the Turing Machine does not agree with my proposal. Notice that in 314, I do have 2 odds to a single even, but since the Turing Machine does not agree with that, it's letting me know that in fact there should be more even than odds. So let's go ahead and type that up in section D. Okay, so that basically tells us that there's at a minimum 2 evens and an odd, but again it could be that it is an all even solution. Well, let's go ahead and test criteria card E. Okay, so in this case we are adding up the 3 digits, triangle, square, and circle. So let's do that with our proposal. So 3 plus 1 is 4, 4 plus 4 is 8. That is an even quantity, but again the Turing Machine does not agree with that. So it's letting us know that the sum total of the 3 digits should actually be odd. So let's go ahead and type that up in our notes in section E, and that is that triangle plus square plus circle should be odd. And so what does that tell us? Well, remember, we do have a majority of evens. So at a minimum, we know we have 2 evens. So if you add 2 evens together, that sum is so far even. But if you want the overall sum to be odd, that means you have to place in an odd quantity. So in fact, what we're looking at is a solution that has 2 evens and a single odd. So 2 evens and we'll just say 1 odd. Okay, So at this point, we don't know if those evens are distinct. Are they paired up? And of course, we do have that criteria card B that will let us know how many 3s there are. Well, at this point, obviously, there can't be 3 or even 2. So that means that either the 3 is there or it's not. Let's see. So yeah, I'm kind of curious. Yeah, and obviously, since we do have 2 evens, which 2 are they? Are they consecutive? Are they next to each other? Or perhaps maybe the square digit is odd. Oftentimes, when you do have 2 evens, the sum of the first 2 could be 6, with 2 and 4 in some order, where square might be telling us which of the 2 evens square has, and triangle would default to the other. Something like that. Let's see, what else can we say? Well, let's go ahead and test criteria card C. Okay, so it does not agree with my proposal. Notice that I did choose a 1 for square and a 4 for circle. So it's not true that square is less than circle. So the only thing we can say is that either they are equal to each other or square is greater than. So let's go ahead and type that up in section C. And that is, again, that square is either equal to or greater than circle. Okay, and I don't believe we can actually cross out anything, because the fact that square and circle can be equal, anything is possible. They could actually be equal. That could be our 2 evens, maybe. And let's see, what else? Yeah, and of course, square could be greater. That's always possible. Okay, well, that does it for this round. We did do our 3 Turing tests. Now we're going into the phase where we'll be discussing how to construct a good second round proposal. And of course, we did not test criteria card A, letting us know a little bit about that square digit. Odds are, there's a high probability that square is the even, but it could still be an odd quantity. We also did not test criteria card B, letting us know whether there's a 3 now or not. And of course, we did not test criteria card F, the sum of the first 2 digits. So again, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes when we do have 2 evens, the sum of the first 2 could be 6. And that's a plausible possibility, especially with square letting us know that if square is even, that it's either less than 3, meaning it's 2, or square could be greater than 3, meaning it's 4. Again, if square is even and the sum of triangle and square are actually 6. So I think that's the easiest plan to go with. So let's say, and if that's true, let's see, what would that tell us about circle? If it's 4, 2, then more than likely, well, actually, let's do this. What failed? It's not true that square is smaller than circle. So square has to be greater than circle. Yeah, so maybe, well, if that's the case, well, I mean, there are a lot of possibilities. I mean, even 4 is less than 5. But maybe something like 4, 2, and then maybe there's a 3 or 5. That's probably the easiest case. So let's go with that. Let's just say it's 4, 2, and we'll say no 3. So let's type that up as 4, 2, 5. Okay, well, the whole reason for that was that the sum of the first 2 are even. So let's go ahead and test criteria card F. Okay, so it is true that the sum of the first 2 is 6, and therefore they are both even. So let's go ahead and type that up in section F, and we'll say that triangle plus square is equal to 6. 6. And again, the only way you could have a sum of 6 is if you have either 2 evens or 2 odds. 1, 5 could work, except that we know that we don't have 2 odds. So yeah, so it has to be the 2 evens. So let's go ahead and cross out all of the odds in triangle and square. And similarly, we know that we do have an odd in circle. So let's go ahead and cross out the evens in circle. So we are looking at an even, odd solution. Let's see. So we know that they're even. Is there a way we can deduce? Well, let's see. Let's also visit if square is going to be equal to or greater than circle. It seems that circle cannot be a 1. Is that correct? Oh no, square can be greater. So that means circle can't be 5. Is that correct? Yeah, there's nothing bigger than 5 or even equal to. So yeah, so I think we can cross out 5 for circle. Okay. Yeah, and so obviously they can't be equal, so we know. Oh, yeah, there you go. We know it can't be equal because we are dealing with even odds. So that means square has to be greater. So we can update our notes and say, yeah, square has to be greater. If that's the case, we may be able to, well, let's see. What else is there left to test? A and C, criteria cards A and C. Can we deduce? We probably can't deduce. Let's see. Yeah, and of course we also know that now that the 2 evens are distinct, so we can't have one of each. Can we deduce one or the other? I'm almost wanting to say that, I guess, well, can square be 2? Because it almost forces circle to be 1. So you almost don't need criteria card C. But I don't know if that's the way to think about it. Let's see. So can you have, 2, 4 makes the most sense. So it could be that my proposal is off. Or let's see, how about if we think about it? If there is a 3, it would have to be square is 4, so it'd be 2, 4, 3. If there's no 3, then you don't know what it is. Is that helpful? If triangle is 4, it forces square to be 2, which would force circle to be 1. So that's in play. I don't know how that would affect the viability of any criteria card. Well, let's go ahead and just test. Let's see, which one would be best? Let's go ahead and test criteria card A. Okay, so it is not true. I did choose 2 for square, so it's true that square is not less than 3, nor can it be equal to 3 since we're dealing with odds, evens in square. So we will type it up as we're going to deduce that square is actually greater than 3. Okay, and since it is greater than 3, that means it has to be 4, which forces square to be 2, since they are, since the sum has to be equal to 6, they are distinct. And so we are dealing with 4, 2, which seems to imply that since square is greater, has to be 1. Circle defaults to 1. So I think we can deduce that there are no 3s. Oh, that's interesting. Well, I think that worked out pretty well. So we're going to deduce let's say the solution has no 3-digit. Okay. So let's see, is that, square is bigger. Well, let's type it up and then we can review. So it seems that the solution is 4, 2, 1. And so let's see. All right, so let's review. So is the middle digit greater than 3? Oh, hold on. What did I do? I think I made a mistake. Let's see. Yeah, square should be the 4. How did that happen? So let me go back. So I'm going to undo the deduction and the crossing out. So I think that's where we're safe. Square is greater than 3. That's what it should be. We deduced it because 2 is less than. So it should be, square should be 4. I apologize. That's why we do a review, so that way we don't make these silly mistakes, or they don't go as far. Yeah, that makes sense now. Yeah, so here we cannot deduce whether there's a 3 or not. That makes sense. Yeah, so let's go ahead and test B. And it does agree that there should be no 3. That's what the check mark tells us. The Turing machine confirms the absence of a 3. So let's go ahead and cross the 3 out. And it does look like the solution now is 2, 4, 1. All right, so now, and of course here we have confirmed that the solution has no 3. So it still turned out to have no 3, but you know, before there was a mistake. The solution has no 3 digit. Okay, so now let's again review. Is the middle digit greater than 3? It is, with a 4. And the solution has no 3. That's correct. Is it true that square, the middle digit, is bigger than the last circle digit? Yeah, 4 is greater than 1. Are there more evens? There are. Is the sum of the 3 odd? It is. It's 7. And is the sum of the first 2 equal to 6? It sure is. Well, okay, now I feel confident that at least it makes sense, but of course let's go ahead and verify that 241 is the solution to today's puzzle. So 241, fantastic. And how do we do with a versus a Turing machine? Well, earlier I was already going to say, hey, we did it in 5, we deduced 1. Not quite so, but still, 6 criteria cards and 6 tests is always a strong showing. So let's go ahead and type it up. So we did C, D, E in the first round, and then we did the remaining 3 in the second round, with only the first one, A, being incorrect in the second round. So C, D, E. So C, D, E were all incorrect, and A was incorrect, and then B and F were correct. How do we do? Wow, so the Turing machine took 8 questions in 3 rounds. That is surprising. I'm not sure where our advantage came from. I think we did sort of get lucky with criteria card F, that the sum of the first 2 is 6. Again, it's not a guarantee when you have 2 evens going into creating a new 3-digit proposal that the sum is going to be 6. But you know, it does occur, and perhaps maybe that was our advantage. Obviously, going into the 3rd round, knowing it was even, odd is also helpful. But again, there could be tons of other possibilities. And remember, we also went into the second round, with nothing crossed out. That was pretty amazing. But again, it's, comes down to a little bit of experience and seeing certain puzzles and certain patterns. But of course, nothing is always 100% until the end. Well, what do you think? How did you solve? Did you find a different combination of criteria cards that kind of created these aha moments? Please add your thoughts to the comments. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up so that more people can find the channel. And of course, if you don't want to miss out on any future videos, make sure to hit subscribe to be notified. Well, until next time, have a great one.